Welcome back to Arise America. At one time, he was the highest paid athlete in the world, but now Michael Schumacher is in the fight of his life. The 44-year-old race driver was injured while skiing in the French Alps. He slipped into a coma on Sunday. Schumacher hit his head on a rock and was seriously hurt despite wearing a helmet. During his career, Schumacher won 7 drivers' championships and 91 race wins. After initially retiring in 2006, he made a comeback in 2010 and raced for 3 years. Joining us now to talk about his career is sports journalist MIKE BAKO. He is a sports editor for dailyjournal.com. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is truly a tragedy. Here's a man who had a very dangerous career to begin with, Formula One racing, 200+ miles an hour.
Absolutely.
And he gets seriously injured in a skiing accident. And I've got to say with this, according to all reports, number one, he was wearing a helmet. And the area that he was skiing down was not extreme. There were no trees. I guess the question is this just a freak accident?
It seems like it is, unfortunately, a freak accident. Kind of, if you think back to Hollywood actress Natasha Richardson, who was married to Liam Neeson, somewhat similar situation. Skiing, fell, hit her head, as you mentioned, Schumacher wearing a helmet, and things just went from bad to worse. In this case with Schumacher, somewhat coherent right after he hit his head and medical attention got to him, but then he was put into that coma and now is in that coma in a France hospital.
Yeah, to say the least right now. Of course, the family is at his bedside. There's a vigil here. Of course, they are certainly appreciative of all the people who are calling in, voicing their support for him. Can you give us an update on his condition now? What are the doctors saying?
Well, the doctors, and one doctor in particular, this is the doctor who just happened to be at the hospital when he arrived. He treated Schumacher in 1999 for a broken leg sustained during an actual race. So he has been injured in the past. Right now, medically induced coma. This doctor who has treated him in the past, not currently treating him, has said that because Schumacher was an elite athlete, still kept himself in very good shape, it's all helping him possibly with his recovery. If there is a recovery right now, the doctors treating him are saying they're really taking it hour by hour.
Let's talk about Schumacher, the man himself. You know, if you go on the list of the top 10 moneymakers in sports, not many people, at least in this country, really know who he is, would even put him up the top. But this guy is a big money maker.
Absolutely, as big as they come. Every year, the Forbes, Sports Illustrated put out top money makers. An American audience looks at, they see Michael Jordan still there. They certainly see Tiger Woods, some foreign names like David Beckham, but always at the top. Who is this Michael Schumacher guy? Year in and year out. He was the top dog internationally, upwards of $80, $90 million in winnings and endorsements.
And of course, coming back after retiring and then racing for 3 more years. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible.
Absolutely incredible. He had a great run with Ferrari, came back with Mercedes. Wasn't quite at the top of his game for those 3 years, but still a force to be reckoned with.
Well, I mean, 44 years old. I mean, that's kind of ancient history for a race car driver, reflexes and everything else.
Absolutely. You think about it in golfing terms, Jack Nicklaus coming back to win the Masters at 42, but that's a one-time kind of a circumstance. We certainly didn't see Schumacher rise to the levels that he had in the past.
Look, I know you're not a doctor, but in this country here, much has been said about football, the serious nature of concussions or their helmets. All sorts of rules now have been put in place to ensure the safety of football players. When it comes to the sport of skiing, helmets, do you think perhaps now, based upon the nature of this injury that Schumacher has, that they might start looking at increasing the safety or strengthening helmets, so maybe perhaps we won't see an injury like this in the future?
It could be. It really depends on what the person is comfortable doing. Certainly, you could get injured riding a bike, get injured ice skating. When it comes to competitive skiing, athletes that you'll see in the Sochi Olympics have a little bit more sturdy helmets. It's actually interesting that from a racing standpoint, Schumacher pioneered a new helmet in 2004 that to test the helmet, they actually ran over it with a tank to show how viable it was as a safety measure. So we don't really know all the nitty-gritty specifics in terms of what happened. We're not even really sure what happened during this fall. Was it after the fact, during the run? So we don't even really know the minutiae of what type of helmet he was wearing.
Right, and we'll find out more. Of course, the French authorities are going to conduct a thorough investigation. I'm sure they'll be able to tell us better what happened. But of course, right now, all prayers are with Mr. Schumacher.
Absolutely.
And Mike, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year to you as well,
Happy New Year to you.
Okay. You are watching Arise America.